Hey friends, welcome to another video at your info Brandon here. As usual, this is going to be a very special video because we are going to be talking about some of the things we need to avoid if we really want to grow in life. So please make sure you watch the video guide up to the end and don't forget to give a thumbs up to the video and a sub to the channel because that's really going to help me grow my YouTube channel. With that said, let's jump straight into the video. The first thing we need to avoid if we want to grow is perfectionism. Now, what is perfectionism? Perfectionism is, in the simplest form, is the need to be perfect or to appear perfectly. Now, people who often suffer from this perfectionism always have this way of seeing themselves in this kind of a high standard, and they believe the things they do is never good enough, and as a result, they tend to delay or resist taking up a task because they are afraid they might not be able to complete that task perfectly. Also, these people tend to be very controlling in the relationship, both personal and even professional relationship, because they expect everyone around them to have the same perfectionism habit, which is not really possible. Everyone around you can never be perfect. Neither you nor your environment or the people around you can ever be perfect in life. If you are waiting for the perfect place, the perfect time, and the perfect tools to get started, just be assured you will never start because there will never be a perfect time. There will never be a perfect moment for you. Now, the thing is, no matter how we try to modify ourselves, no matter how we try to modify our looks, no matter how we study and try to be smart, no matter what we do in this life, the truth is there's always that person who is always going to be smarter than you, who is always going to be more beautiful than you, who is always supposed to be, who is going to be taller than you. But guess what? That person is never going to be you. Maybe you are watching this and your goal is to start something, let's say a YouTube channel, and you are just saying you need to have a perfect phone, you need to have a perfect lighting, you need to have a perfect computer, you need to have the perfect people around you before you get started. Just know you will not start. Start with what you have. Give yourself a room for growth, because you start, if you start with the things you have, even if they are not perfect, you learn as you grow, and eventually before you get into the situation, into the stage where you have these perfect things, you have already perfected your skills as well. I always give this common example: the software companies. Look at Apple, Microsoft, Android, Google. These people, even up to this day, they still have updates. What does that tell you? It means they never started with a perfect idea. They started with the idea they had at that moment. And as time goes by, they kept studying and new ideas kept coming up, and they put the code into the program. And that's why we have monthly updates from Microsoft and sometimes updates from Google and Android as well, because these people do not have the perfect idea at the point when they wanted to start it. They simply started with what they have and grew gradually. The second thing we need to give up on is self-doubt. Now, what is self-doubt? Self-doubt in the simplest form is when you minimize your abilities to achieve a certain goal, especially when you have everything it takes to achieve that goal. Every person in this world, I think, have faced that self-doubt at one moment in their life. Like when I always wanted to start coaching people, I used to think about myself, who am I, a young person like me, to go and stand in front of a 30-year-old person telling you there is hope in life, you should never give up on your dream? I was asking, even though I had the knowledge, I had the brain to do all these things, but I kept doubting myself because I failed to see the abilities I had in me. And as a result of this self-doubt, I limit myself from doing the things I loved doing. And this thing applies to a lot of us. A lot of us have these big goals, we want to achieve them, but we don't just believe in ourselves. We keep saying, I don't have enough work experience, I don't have enough knowledge, I don't have enough education, I'm not tall enough, I'm not smart enough. But yet, we still see people who don't even have these things we are complaining we don't have, living life and achieving their dreams, even though they don't even have the things you claim not to have. The only difference between you and these people is that they believe in themselves, even though people don't believe in them at the moment. Same thing, when you start doing things, people will not believe in you. But if you stay consistent, if you maintain that self-discipline, you keep showing up every single day, don't bother. One day, these people that do not believe in you will gather to celebrate your success. But first, you need to believe in yourself. The third thing we need to avoid if we want to grow in life is comparison. Now, comparison is not always a bad thing when it comes to the situation when you are comparing to add some value into your life. But it becomes a problem when the thing you are comparing to do takes away your value instead of adding your value. Human beings are meant to admire people. So if you see somebody doing something or having something you don't have, instead of trying to live a fake life just because you want to compare with these people, instead look for a way to learn from these people. How did they achieve these things? How did they do this thing? Because if you learn from them, they will teach you how to do it. But if you start comparing from these people, they might feel like you are in a competition with them and they might not even want to teach you what they know already. Now, the most common way I see a lot of people comparing is we all travel abroad and we go to abroad during our first years. We start comparing with people who have been here for about 10 years. You want to drive the same car with these people. You want to wear the same kind of designer clothes they are wearing. You want to live in the same house they are living in. Now, I'm not saying you should not do this thing if you have a lot of money to do it, but how can you be comparing to buy a shoe of $500 because you see your friend buying that shoe when you are still living under your parents, or you don't even have any money in your bank account, but here you are putting on a shoe of $500? Or sometimes we even have families back home that are looking up to us and we are putting on a shoe of $500 when they don't even have something to eat. We are using all the money we are working to pay car loan, to pay a high insurance because we want to drive the same cars our friends are driving just because we want to compare with them. There are some things that if we want to do in life, we should look where we came from and ask ourselves, is this thing really worth it? Because for some of us, our family has put everything together for us to succeed in life. And if we don't do this, it's really going to shatter our family because they depend on us for everything. Don't go and start comparing yourself with someone that is looking up to the family instead for everything. That does not make sense. Also, if you want to compare to people, ask yourself, what chapter is this person at this point in their life? Because you cannot be in chapter 2 of your life and you are compared with someone who has already reached chapter 10 in their life story, who have worked for years and years and years to be where they are. You have just worked for a year and you want to achieve what people have been trying to achieve for 10 good years. Please, we should stay away from this competition, unnecessary competition that will not add value to our life. If you must compete, it should be the competition you are competing with yourself. Compete with your bank account. If last year you had zero money in your bank account, make sure this year you have something in your bank account. If last year you had a lot of weight and you want to lose weight, let that be a competition. Use this year to cut down your weight. There are a lot of things we can compete with ourselves to win, rather than competing with people that at the end of the day we have nothing to benefit but everything to lose in that competition. Another thing we should try to avoid is listening too much to people. Now, if you want to learn, you have to listen from people, but it becomes a problem when you do it so much because this might stop you from really doing the things you want to do in life. The fact is this, no matter what you do, people must always talk about it, and no matter how right you see something, no matter how you say this thing is right, this is the right thing to do, there's always that person who is always seeing that as the wrong thing. And some people are really filled with this whole lot of negativity, and their whole sole purpose are just to say things that will bring you down. Each time you want to do something, they will tell you are not beautiful enough, you are not good enough, you are not smart enough, you are not tall enough. They'll just say all sorts of things to bring you down. But you have to cultivate that strong mindset to pay less attention to these people and more attention to the things you say about yourself. Because at the end of the day, whatever the people are saying does not really matter, but what do you see about yourself? That's the thing that really matters, because it's how valuable or how much you see your self-esteem that will push you to take action. Also, we don't have to live our life based on public opinion, means what the public say it is the right thing to do. Because the fact that we grew up and we saw everybody in a particular area doing a particular thing in a certain way does not mean that that's the right way to do that thing. Maybe just because another person has not come out with another way to do that thing, so they stick with what they know. Don't live your life based on public opinion. Never avoid an opportunity to listen from people because you might learn something. But before you come up with any conclusions, with any decision, always have this personal responsibility upon yourself to do enough research to back up the knowledge people have given you. The last but not the least thing in this video we need to avoid if we want to grow is what we call procrastination. Procrastination is very simple. It's the act of delaying or postponing something. As simple as that. I don't think there is any person in this world that does not procrastinate. Every single person does that. Even the most successful people procrastinate, but they have just tried, everybody is coming up with a way to manage their procrastination in such a way that it won't affect their general productivity. Let's take for instance, as a student, I am guilty of this. Sometimes you have due assignment and you are just like, okay, let me watch a single show on Netflix. And before you know it, you have spent a whole day watching a series. And you go to read your book, you realize you are tired and you say, okay, let me take a nap and I'll wake up maybe early. You take a nap, you don't even wake up early. Even the time you manage to wake up, the first thing you start scrolling on your phone, and before you know it, is about 9 a.m. the next day. You want to do breakfast. Before you know it, that day is almost getting to an end. And that's when you realize you have this load of assignment on you. This is already due, and there is no way you could catch up with the assignment. Even if you want to do it, you will go through a lot of stress trying to do something that would have been easily done if you do not procrastinate. Examine yourself. If you have a task, something you want to do, all you need to do is just start. Don't think about it. Don't wait. Just start doing it. Because the more you wait, the more you start to overthink and something else might pop up into your mind. And human beings the brain is always designed to go with things that will give you less stress. Thank you so much for watching this video right up to this point, and I hope you found some knowledge in this video. If that was the case, give a thumbs up, and don't also forget to share the video so that a lot of people can learn from this thing and grow in life.